Miami, very talented team. Certainly their guard play is outstanding. Durant Scott, Malcolm Grant, two guys that play very well together. They shoot it, put pressure on their defense with penetration, have good experience in the ACC, and combine that with Reggie Johnson inside, and you have a very nice inside-out combination. I know Coach Haith is very excited about his team, and he should be there. A group that's playing pretty well, I think, and have had a little bit of success, especially late last year in the conference tournament. And, you know, significant game for us because it's our first home ACC game.
They seem to be pretty athletic to the point they can maybe control tempo. I think that would be a concern.
Well, there's certainly, you know, they've got good guards that know how to play. They can play fast. They can play slow. They can do whatever they need to because of Johnson. I think they sometimes slow things down to make sure he gets touches, but they certainly have the athletes at the wing. Darius Adams, Adrian Thomas. They've got all kinds of guys that can do different things, so they can play as fast as they need to, or they can slow it down and pound it inside through a guy in Reggie Johnson who's, you know, a terrific player, a guy who's really made himself into a very good ACC post player. Got great hands, good moves, and is obviously really big and strong.
Brad, with the way that Reggie is playing and with the way that Jure is playing, that seems to be the natural matchup in this thing.
Yeah, it'll be one of the matchups, no question. That you know, both teams, post players, I think, are doing well and have provided an inside presence. And I'm sure both coaches feel like they'll need those guys to be on the floor. That hurt Miami a little bit in the Duke game when he got into some foul trouble. So that'll be one of the matchups. But I think both teams have enough other pieces that, you know, if you just try to stop one of those, one player on any team, there's too many other guys that can hurt you. But certainly, I think I would agree that the centerpieces are Jure and Reggie.
Over the last 6 games of this winning streak, it seems like your team has started to get your philosophy a little bit better. I guess the last 2 minutes of the first half of the East Carolina game really come to mind.
I just think there's been a lot of talk about our offensive scheme and all that in motion. Probably too much has been made of that when I'm very much a defensive-minded coach. And I think even my team, it's taken them a while to appreciate how much I think defense is important and critical, and we spend a lot of time on it in preparation, and we're still not anywhere near where I want us to be in terms of understanding how to prepare all the time for games. But our effort in terms of competing and our understanding of trying to be difficult to play against and not give up easy baskets has improved a lot. Certainly, I think we did an unbelievable job in our game at Charleston of holding those guys in the 50s, and we've done a good job of you know, making it difficult for a lot of people to score, and that has to continue for us to be successful this year.
How's DeAndre Hopkins doing? I know he's only practiced a couple times, but what have you seen?
He's fine. You know, he's got a long way to go. Just there's a big difference between playing at Daniel High School and playing in Clemson, and you know, he's competing, he's trying to figure some things out, but it's going to be a process. And you know, he wasn't able to be at practice today because he had some issues with his family that he needed to take care of, so he's really only been on the court a couple times. I'm not going to make him available to the media for a while, and in all honesty, I would hope that we don't ask about DeAndre all the time. That I know we're going to ask about him here for a while, that's fine, but I would hope you guys would be a little respectful of the guys that are playing all the time and have been playing since April to get ready for this season, and that more of our focus would be on them. I think that they've earned it, and DeAndre, if he gets to the point where he can help our team, then I think he's a guy we can talk about a little bit more. But, you know, other than maybe giving you what I've given you already, that's about all I want to talk about DeAndre for a while until he earns his way onto our team a little bit more.
And, I mean, he's not going to play tomorrow, obviously.
No.
Any timetable for him?
When he's productive in practice.
What's been the big key to Jure's surge here the last 6 games? He says he thinks it's just touches, that he's actually touching the ball. What do you see as a coach?
Oh, I think his confidence is much higher. I think he's more aggressive. I think he's more certain in the plays that he's making. He's more assertive, and he knows what he has. He knows more, I think, more comfortable and knows more about what he's trying to do when he gets the ball. I don't think it's as simple as him getting more touches. I think he got some touches earlier in games as well. But I'm pleased that he's confident. I'm pleased that he's playing well. And And he's worked really hard. You know, he's one of the guys I'm talking about that since I got here in April has put in a lot of time and lifted weights and worked extra and stayed both summer sessions. And, you know, he's a guy that you need to be interviewing and need to be asking questions. And, you know, he's having a very good senior season. I'm proud of him because of how hard he's worked.
DeMonte's hit some jumpers from the outside, and throughout his career, he's kind of been inconsistent. But I mean, obviously, that could really be a key part of it.
No doubt, no doubt. It's a great point. When DeMonte shoots the ball well, it opens a lot more things up for us. You know, I think we all know that Andre's a very good three-point shooter, and Tanner and DeMonte can be streaky. When one or two more of those guys start making shots, it really helps our offense. It gives us much more balance, and we certainly need that when we play teams at the level of the ACC.
Is the ACC one of those deals? I guess the top team, most people figure Duke's that top team, and everybody else is kind of.
You know, I really haven't watched a lot of the teams in the league, to be honest with you. I haven't seen Maryland much. I saw them a little bit early, one game against Charleston. I don't think I've seen Virginia at all. I've seen Wake just a touch. I mean, I've seen Florida State, obviously, but I haven't seen a lot of the teams to know who's really good and even know all the players in the league. I didn't know much about Miami until the other day and started learning about all their players and how good they are and the kind of success they've had in the last year. It doesn't take long watching Malcolm Grant and Durant Scott and Reggie Johnson and Adrian Thomas making threes and you know, to figure out how good the players are. Certainly it looks like from the way the first 2 months of the season have gone that Duke has separated itself clearly from the rest of us. They're undefeated. The rest of us have lost some games. And, you know, I think we all probably thought maybe the league would be doing a little bit better, but it's going to be the ACC. It's going to be plenty difficult, plenty challenging, and there's a lot of good coaches and a lot of good players. So it'll be exciting for sure.
The player like Devin and being kind of thin, maybe on the front line, him getting in foul trouble, from what you've seen, is it a thing of just not moving his feet correctly when he's on defense or getting out of position or being too aggressive, and how do you fix it?
I think some of it is experience and not being in the right spot, and then when you arrive late, you're prone to foul because you don't get to the spot you need to be early. Some of that's experience. You know, Devin hasn't been out there at this level very much, and he certainly hasn't been there at the beginning of games when the pace is unbelievably quick. And so early in the year especially, I thought he could almost play 2 or 3 minutes and get a foul every game. He's done better recently, but I think it's more just experience and technique and learning how to play. And you know, in fact, the other day after practice, we had him just working on some post defense by himself after practice for 10 minutes, just trying to ingrain technique and trying to get it to where he's reacting and not thinking so much. And but it is important. We are a little thin, and we need, you know, Devin to be on the court quite a bit.
During these past 6 games, you played a lot of different combinations of guys, tried some different. Do you feel like you've kind of settled into your rotation?
I don't know. You know, I think it'll probably be game to game. I think I don't know if, you know, I certainly think we've had a few guys that have separated themselves a little bit and are playing well. But I always think there's going to be a guy or two that in a game can come give you a jolt. And the Brian Narcissus, the Xavier Andersons, I think those guys can come in and give you a jolt. And if they play well, they're going to get a few more minutes. And there are times, in fact, when Brian's played reasonably well and probably deserved a few more minutes and hasn't gotten them. And so we'll just have to wait and see as games go, kind of how the flow of the game goes.
Any other questions?
Thanks, guys.